In a near-apocalyptic world where solar activity has gone wild, daytime temperatures rise so much that stepping outside means instant sunburn, or worse, burning alive. As if that wasn't enough to deal with, strange creatures start emerging from the ground. These creatures look so much like humans that it's impossible to tell who's real and who's not. Naturally, this causes mass paranoia and people end up hurting each other in fear. Fun times, right? Let's jump right into the crazy details. 2 endings. One where a creepy man knocks on the door and kidnaps the protagonist, and the other where the protagonist is kicked out of his own cabin after letting some visitors in. These guests end up killing other people seeking shelter, which, surprise, surprise, causes a lot of drama. The mysterious man knocks on the door twice during the story and asks if the protagonist is alone. If the protagonist is truly alone, no guests, no visitors, then this eerie guy takes him away, and that's the last anyone hears of him. What a cheerful thought. It's implied that this guy might be one of those creatures that have clawed their way out of the ground, looking to cause trouble. The protagonist's fate is left hanging, but it's safe to assume it's not great. On the flip side, if the protagonist lets in the visitors, they kill some of the guests in the house. Naturally, the surviving guests don't take kindly to this and start seeing the protagonist as unsafe. Instead of leaving the cabin themselves, they boot the protagonist out, right into the scorching daylight where he immediately gets roasted by the sun. Talk about a bad day. The media adds to the chaos by spreading vague rumors about how to spot these mysterious visitors. Apparently, they have perfectly white teeth, so like anyone who flosses. Dirt under their nails, because everyone who gardens is obviously suspicious. Blood red eyes, allergies anyone. And smudged faces in film camera photos because modern cameras can't pick up the paranormal duh. These signs are so vague that pretty much anyone could fit the description, leading people to point fingers at each other and panic. It's a classic case of mass hysteria, but if the protagonist is careful with his choices, a different outcome is possible. It turns out that FEMA, the organization supposedly trying to help, isn't exactly as benevolent as they seem. Surprise! The visitors, who are supposedly inhuman, might just be regular people driven to violence by fear and paranoia stoked by the media. People are burning down houses, fighting in the streets, and targeting each other based on these vague indicators. It's a mess. Even worse, some people have taken it upon themselves to hunt down anyone they suspect of being a visitor, leaving corpses in public as a warning. In one version of the story, FEMA agents show up again demanding another person for examination. They already took one guest, but apparently that wasn't enough. Despite the protagonist's protests, they force him to hand over another person. At this point, the protagonist starts suspecting that FEMA might be hiding something. Why do they need so many people? Why are they not bringing back the ones they took? Something fishy is going on, and it's not just the lack of sunscreen in this solar apocalypse. Later on, that same strange man knocks on the door again, asking if the protagonist is alone. When the protagonist tells him to leave, the man replies with a cryptic comment, "I thought you didn't mind talking to us." Is he hinting that the visitors have already infiltrated the house? Spooky. After the man leaves, the protagonist decides that the outside world is just too dangerous and boards up the cabin with the remaining guests inside. If some of those guests are secretly visitors, the protagonist might be in big trouble. These visitors seem to enjoy mutilating people, perhaps to feel some kind of twisted satisfaction. Yeah, not exactly your friendly neighborhood picnic. In one ending, if the protagonist fails to figure out who's a visitor, he ends up dying in a gruesome way. But if he manages to avoid inviting any visitors into the house, things turn out a bit better. The guests are all friendly and they spend their time hoping for brighter days, waiting for FEMA to potentially rescue them from this nightmare. But let's get back to the visitors. Are they really just people who have lost their minds due to the media frenzy? Or are they actual monsters emerging from the earth with sinister intentions? Some people have even started identifying as visitors, fully embracing the role of these terrifying creatures. Maybe these people are mentally ill, or maybe there's something more supernatural at play. The lines between reality and paranoia blur, making it nearly impossible to trust anyone. FEMA, meanwhile, is up to no good. They seem to be running some kind of experiment, manipulating people into turning against each other. They keep changing their story and demanding more and more people for tests. In one instance, they kick the owner out of their house and take more people by force. It feels like FEMA is intentionally sowing distrust, giving out vague instructions on how to spot visitors just to stir the pot. And while the guests inside the protagonist's cabin are busy turning on each other, the real threat might be something far more organized and far more dangerous. Let's not forget about the pale, slender man who lurks outside the cabin. He's not just some random weirdo, he's highly dangerous, even taking down an entire squad of trained soldiers. If he's just a mentally ill human, how could he manage that? Maybe he really is a supernatural visitor after all. But there's still one big question. Why doesn't this guy just break into the cabin and wreak havoc? What's stopping him? Is he toying with the protagonist, waiting for the perfect moment? The mystery only deepens. So, are the visitors real monsters? Or are they just regular people driven to madness by fear and paranoia? It's hard to say. The story gives us plenty of clues, but no definitive answers. Maybe these visitors are a little bit of both. Humans who have lost their sanity and embraced a monstrous identity, or perhaps actual creatures from beneath the earth. The truth remains elusive. What do you think? Are the visitors real, or are they just a figment of everyone's paranoia? Could it be a mix of both? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next video. Have a fantastic day.